Hi everyone and welcome to this webinar. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. If not, if you experience any technical difficulties, let us know in the chat here on the site. Today we are going to share 10 very helpful insights and tips in how to dodge the most common intranet design mistakes. Because let's be honest, an intranet is much more than just a collection of web pages. It is a space where people can connect with each other, where they can find relevant information in order to do their work and just feel part of a team. However, creating a good intranet is not easy, I know. Even small design mistakes can lead to significant issues with usability and employee engagement. But don't worry, my name is Lawrence, I work at Fellow Digitals, and with over 25 years of experience of helping organizations implementing and optimizing their intranet, we can help you. So whether you are setting up an intranet, a new intranet, or just optimizing your own, this webinar is for sure going to be very helpful. So let's dive into the first common mistake right now. Now, the first pitfall is uncertainty about the intranet's role. A question we frequently hear is, what is the intranet actually for? Now, this can cause a lot of confusion if not addressed. And to get this right, it is essential to have a crystal clear picture of the various tools your organization uses and how the intranet fits within the bigger picture. So the first thing we advise is to create a sketch of your application landscape, which could look something like this. So on the left, we have the personal file storage. Think of places where you keep your files like OneDrive, Dropbox, or even your own computer. Now on the right, we have document management systems, and this is where SharePoint or G Suite comes into play. Up next, we have a lot of normally private small group communications within organizations, and here we look at tools like Microsoft Teams, Skype, Slack, and yes, even the good old email. Last but not least, we have business productivity tools, and here we talk about platforms like Salesforce or Jira that, keep your business ticking in a way. Now, once you have this map of tools and their purposes, now it's time to add a new column labeled Intranet. And here you will have to outline the core functions of your intranet. And normally this is, for example, one-to-many, like one-to-many comms, sharing news, sharing company-wide announcements, enabling employees to find what they need with an enterprise search, for example, and providing onboarding and compliance resources. And it's vital that this role of the intranet is communicated clearly to your team and, of course, to the whole organization. And remember, the digital landscape is always evolving, so it's good to revisit this annually to ensure there is no overlap and keeping your intranet sharp and functional. Now, by keeping these roles, or by keeping the purpose of the intranet clear and communicate that, you will avoid confusion. You don't want a bunch of employees communicating in Microsoft Teams and have a bunch of employees communicating on the intranet or share documents on the intranet and another bunch shares documents in SharePoint. Where do we do what? Be clear about it, write every application down, write what the purpose is, what they can use it for, and trust me, you will have a great place for your intranet within the application landscape. Now, let's dive into pitfall number 2. Pitfall number 2 is confusing nice to know with need to know information. A frequent issue in intranet design is the blending of essential, important news with less relevant news. Here is an example. Imagine going to your intranet news page only to find the announcement of a major policy change lost in a sea of updates about, new office decorations, for example. It's frustrating. And this is what happens when all news articles are lumped together without any distinction of importance. Important information gets lost, and employees waste time shifting through the clutter to find what they really need or find important. So, how do we fix this? It's all about strategy in content categorization and display. Here's what you can do. Before you publish any piece of news, categorize it. Determine how critical it is and who it's relevant to. Then, on your news page, create separate blocks or sections for each category. Think of it as a bookshelf where each shelf holds a different genre of books. For example, on a well-organized news page, you might have a block right at the top for must-know updates. Below that, a dedicated space for HR news, job opportunities, special announcements, team communications, and a section for the most read articles, for example. Now, this approach doesn't just clear up the clutter, it streamlines the flow of information. Now, by creating these categories, employees will be able to quickly find and focus on the news that is important to them. And this isn't all about making things look nice. It's about improving the efficiency and impact of your internal communications. Now, let's go to pitfall number 3. Now, another challenge we frequently encounter is the over-reliance on the intranet's timeline for sharing content. You might have asked this question yourself once: where did my post go? Or where did someone else's post go that was posted yesterday? Now, this becomes an even bigger issue in very active intranets where the content is updated often. For example, you post an important update, and within hours it is lost beneath a cascade of new posts and documents from your colleagues. Your message, once front and center, is now a needle in a, digital haystack. So how can we fix that? Well, we take a step back and use the same method as the news page. Categorize your timeline content. In a well-organized community group on your intranet, you wouldn't just see a single stream of updates. Instead, the homepage of that group would feature neatly organized categories like the latest manuals, best practices, recent questions, and, for example, interesting links. This way of organizing content means that important posts stay accessible and noticeable on the homepage for much longer. Now, of course, this also makes it a lot easier for employees to quickly find what they are looking for, which dramatically, of course, improves how they experience the intranet and how effectively they can find information. Now, let's go to pitfall number 4, which is unclear user actions. And this is another topic that should deserve some attention: the lack of clear user guidance on intranets. This often leads to employees feeling uncertain about where and how to contribute content, whether it's in specific groups or across the entire intranet. Now, to overcome this hurdle, it is critical that the actions users can take are immediately shown as soon as they land on a group page or the intranet's homepage. And we cannot stress enough how vital clarity in design and navigation is. Here is an example of a group page with a top task menu that stands out. It clearly invites employees to ask a question or share best practices. With a simple click on these options, users are guided to a new page where they are prompted to fill out specific fields. And this method not only maintains a consistent format for contributions, but also automatically sorts each entry into the right category on the homepage. Now, what does this mean for your employees? It means that they no longer have to guess where to post their updates or information. The process is kind of streamlined for them. Now, out of experience, having a top task menu really plays a crucial role in enhancing the user experience. Having just a timeline where Employees have to figure out about what they can post is not really inviting to share content, and companies that have transitioned to a top task menu showing them the options, numbers have gone up. So that's fantastic. Now let's dive into pitfall number 5, and that has to do with start pages that only provide information. Because one common mistake we see in intranet design is start pages that focus too much on news and events, while overlooking the tools people really need to get their work done. And of course, an intranet start page should indeed keep everyone up to date with the latest happenings within the company, but it also should empower employees by providing easy access to perform everyday tasks. Here is an example. Right on the start page, there is a quick task menu, here on the right. It is a feature that would allow employees to do things like submit a help desk ticket or apply for leave in just a few clicks. Now, this functionality doesn't just make the intranet more useful, it gives employees a solid reason to visit and engage with the intranet frequently. For an effective layout, you could consider dividing your start page into 2 main areas. One for information and another one for tasks. The information menu could include links to news updates, announcements, or resources, while the task menu should have direct links to the tools and forms employees need for their daily activities. Now, of course, and again, this clear separation makes sure that your team can quickly find what they are looking for, whether that is just links to the latest news or links to internal pages, or links to perform certain actions as to immediately report an incident. Now, for pitfall number 6, we stay on the start page. Because another mistake we often see is that a lot of companies are not treating the intranet start page as the dynamic page it should be. And when this happens, employees end up seeing the same old news for months, which can make your intranet seem outdated and irrelevant. Now let's break this down, okay? Say the top section of your intranet start page is designed to display the 5 most recent news articles. If your organization only posts news monthly, it won't take long before the 5th article is several months old. Now, what does this mean? Your employees might start thinking of the intranet as a dusty, static bulletin board, not the vibrant, useful resource it's meant to be. And if they keep seeing old news, they might stop checking the intranet altogether, right? So what's the fix? It's super simple, yet effective, I believe. Keep your news feed updated, of course, and tailor the number of displayed articles to match how often you post news. In other words, if you post less frequently, show fewer articles to ensure all displayed content is fresh. Now, we have 3 more tips, pitfalls to go. And yet again, we stay on the start page one more time, as pitfall number 7 is about using one start page for all employees. Because yet another mistake we see in intranet design is the belief that a single start page will work for everyone. Now, this approach doesn't account for the different needs of various employee groups, like blue-collar workers who might be in the field or involved in manual labor, and white-collar workers who usually work at desks. Now, these groups often need access to different tools and information. Now, to build an intranet that truly serves everyone, we suggest creating multiple start pages designed for the specific requirements of different employee groups. This means that when employees log in, they immediately see content that's relevant and useful to their particular role. Alright, with pitfall number 8, we will take a look at excessive information scattered across the intranet. Often, we see that there are many groups on the intranet for each department where they can share information. This leaves employees feeling lost, often making remarks as, "I don't know where to look." The solution? Well, centralization. Create an accessible hub right at the heart of your intranet. This is where every piece of organizational information can be found. It's a straightforward approach that does away with the confusion of navigating through a maze of groups or sections to find what you need. Now, to make this hub as user-friendly as possible, you could organize content into well-defined categories. Each category has its own page with subcategories that guide users directly to the specific documents or information they are looking for. But let's take it a step further. The information hub should not just be a storage space for documents. It should also feature, in our opinion, a dashboard with quick links to essential internal applications, whether that's Microsoft 365 or your HR systems. And, with single sign-on capabilities, users can transition smoothly between applications without the hassle of multiple logins. Now, in the end, having one information portal where the employee can navigate to is, of course, much easier than having 10 department groups that the employee has to get into in order to find the information they need. Okay? Now, pitfall number 9, and I can be very short about this one, and that is not involving management in the intranet. Now, I often hear management saying the intranet is for everyone, while at the same time, they never post any content. They never do anything on there. And we believe that the management's involvement is absolutely key for a great user adoption. If the leadership team is rarely seen on the intranet, they don't set a good example. I can tell you that. And intranets that where management is actively sharing, for example, vlogs, the latest happenings, interesting updates, those are doing way better than intranets where the management team is invisible. So involve management. And here we are, the last pitfall for this webinar, and this is pitfall number 10, ignoring mobile accessibility. Because hello, we live in the year 2024. Employees might need to access your intranet outside the office using their smartphones or tablets. If your intranet isn't designed for these devices, it can lead to frustration, less engagement, and even a drop in productivity. Now, what can you do about this? Of course, you could get a dedicated app, but at least try to make your intranet responsive. Your intranet should automatically adapt its layout and features to fit the screen size and capabilities of any device. That's what we mean with a responsive intranet. Of course, you could take it a step further by having a dedicated intranet app. But alright, we at Fellow Digitals also offer a mobile app and see that of all users, 40 to 45% of all intranet users access the intranet via a mobile device. Some years ago, that was only 15% or something. So, and well, that's it. Thank you all for joining this webinar. I hope that the strategies and the tips shared with you today here on my screen will help you in optimizing your intranet. And as we wrap up, I encourage you to take these ideas back to your team. But don't worry, we have summarized all of these tips into a white paper with very nice screenshots that you can download. So keep an eye out on your inbox for a follow-up email with additional resources, the white paper, and a recording of this webinar. Thank you again for your time and participation. If you have any questions, feel free to email us, and we hope to see you, hopefully see you in one of our next webinars. Bye-bye.